Welcome to another episode of Health and Healing. I'm your host, Dr. Noto. Today's episode is on smoking and how to help all you smokers out there quit. I bet you didn't know smoking is the leading form of preventative death in America. Smoking affects every organ of the human body. When you smoke, you not only hurt yourself, but you hurt those around you. Last year, over 200,000 people were diagnosed with lung cancer, and 85% of those will die within 5 years. Today, we're going to show you both Eastern and Western techniques on how to help you stop smoking.
Smoking is actually very, very bad, as everybody knows. When we smoke, we inhale the toxic substance into our lungs, and then from there, it gets into the blood circulation. So it actually affects almost every organ. Stomach cancer, esophageal cancer, leukemia, cervical cancer, kidney cancer, almost any organ you think about. Lung cancer is a big thing in the United States. It's the #1 cause of death in the United States. And in men, 90% of the lung cancer are caused by smoking. In women, it's 80%. Men who smoke, they generally live 13 years shorter than a non-smoker. In women, they live about 14 years shorter.
We're about to show you an Asian secret, how one small area of the body is actually a microcosm of the entire body. Up next, we'll find out. Our episode today is about smoking and how to help people stop smoking. And one of the things that keeps popping up is the ear. And I want to learn a little bit more about how the ear is used to help people stop smoking.
Okay, so the ear in general, overall auricular acupuncture is a microsystem that is used traditionally in Chinese medicine for a variety of uses. But in terms of the training that I've had, it's been used at detox centers, even here in New York City in the South Bronx, where it's used to sort of help with cravings and with a variety of addictions. And that's been applied to smoking because it is something that's very hard to quit.
And when you say the ear is a microsystem, you mean it represents other parts of the body, or how would you explain that?
Correct. There's a lot of different points on the ear, even up beyond 200. And each one can correspond to a certain part of the body, say the brain, or the liver, or the stomach, or the kidneys, and on and on. And those certain areas can be targeted and used. A lot of times people think acupuncture, they think the full body, but the full body can be treated via the ear.
It might be hard for our audience to imagine that the ear could represent everything on the body and that treating the ear would help you stop smoking. What's the theory behind it?
The theory is really it's you just want to kind of break the pattern of what's going on. And with acupuncture and using the needles, it can really kind of help with that.
What I've realized is that smoking is very difficult to quit, and people in the audience might be thinking, wow, how is this little needle in the ear going to help me quit smoking? In your experience, how effective is it?
It's pretty effective, and again, it depends on how much people are smoking, how long they've been smoking, how much they're really wanting to quit. I find that last component, the really desire to quit, has to be fairly strong in the patient. It does vary, but it has been quite successful in terms of helping the patient deal with the cravings.
In your experience, how many visits will it take to usually start seeing a real benefit from it?
I mean, you really want to come in that first part, maybe like 2 or 3 times a week. And you could start seeing benefits right away. It may take a little while to break those patterns. Again, it's going to be based on how long the patient has been smoking and how much is, how much they are smoking per day.
I'm always fascinated to hear about how we're using Eastern and Western medicines together. You just said you're using auricular acupuncture and someone might be on the patch or taking a newer medication. How often in your experience are you seeing people coming in using multiple different modalities, Eastern and Western, to treat it?
Pretty frequently. People tend to see the benefit of both, which I think is a good thing. It's nice for both modalities to talk together and to have an open dialogue because, Eastern's here to stay.
Now, why do you feel smoking is so difficult to quit?
It's a variety of reasons. I think there's the social reason. I think it's generally, accepted for the most part. It's legal to do. So it's out there. It's associated with other forms of socialization like drinking. And I also think that, the nicotinic receptors in the brain are very strong. The dopamine levels, can be really messed with smoking. It can send you up, send you down. So I think that's also a chemical component that can be difficult. But I think specifically the social component is hard because a lot of other addictions can be behind closed doors and you can't be out in the open with it. So I think that can be pretty hard to kick.
We just showed you how ancient Eastern medicine uses the ear to help you quit smoking. We'll now show you how modern medicine uses the same philosophy with lasers instead of needles. Follow me. Our episode today is focused on quitting smoking. And as you know, it can be very difficult. What we want to learn about is how the idea of lasers actually has started to use to help people stop smoking.
How the laser works is you apply the laser on acupuncture points, and it's painless. 34 points later, your endorphins in your brain feel as if you've had a cigarette. That lasts for 6 days. But what the laser does is it removes all cravings for cigarettes.
Now, did this technology come from the United States? Did it originate in China?
No, actually originated in Germany about 35 years ago. And isn't it interesting that we don't have this
35 years it took
for the last 35 years? Think of how many lives have been lost.
Has there been studies that show how effective it is?
There is a study out of Germany for 35 years to show how effective the laser is in getting people to stop smoking.
In your experience, how effective is it for people?
I hate to say a number because it is an addiction. Addiction is a terrible thing to try to get over. I can get my clients to stop smoking if they work with me. I give a number of 65%. I hate to give that number, but if you will work with me and if you are willing, I can get you to stop smoking. And that's at least 65% of my clients. But the client has to be motivated and willing to stop.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the theory behind how the laser works?
Well, endorphins are the whole kit and caboodle. When you have happy endorphins, your brain works well and you can function without stress. Once you get a smoker who has been addicted for a while, in order to have these happy endorphins, you need nicotine, and without nicotine, they become very unhappy. The second you get a cigarette, you get happy endorphins again. What the laser does is it makes your endorphins happy for 6 days.
How many sessions does it take actually to feel a benefit?
Well, most clients will walk into the office a smoker and they will walk out a non-smoker.
Meaning they won't have the urge.
Not for 6 days. They will not want to smoke for 6 days.
And it's a painless treatment.
Painless. It's wonderful. It makes you feel, endorphins are the same mechanisms that make you feel high. So as I'm giving you this treatment, you will feel relaxed and cool and very, almost as I call it, the endorphin high, because you relax in this very, very, very deep, yet awake, coma-like sleep.
When most people think of Eastern medicine, they think of Chinese medicine. However, there's another system from a different country that's just as